Tonight on a very special episode of One More Match.
We just watched WWE ECW December to Dismember. I was going to say the year, but there was only one of this pay-per-view in this iteration, as it unfortunately flopped. Now, I will say, this pay-per-view has been grossly exaggerated to be one of the worst pay-per-views ever. You know, it's one of those, it's up there as one of the absolute criminal, fails, the absolute disasters. But I mean, from someone who's actually been watching WWE ECW, we've watched every single episode. I don't think the show was that bad. Honestly, and this may be a bit of a hot take, I've enjoyed this pay-per-view much more than 90% of all the Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views this year.
Just to switch.
I've genuinely enjoyed this pay. There was only one match on this show that I didn't enjoy. Yeah. And that was just Tommy Dreamer, because it's fucking Tommy Dreamer. I think he's just shit.
He's headphone. Just fucking... Yeah, it's generally, I was one of those people who hyped up on, oh, this is going to be shit, this is going to be shit. But I was actually sitting there and we were talking back and forth. We were talking about short wrestlers who did something wrong, get a second chance and stuff like that. You know, the usual talk about, I go, hey, nice cock. He goes, small cock. And I go, yeah, I know, don't remind me. But generally, this pay-per-view is one of the best pay-per-views of 2006. I don't know whether it's the kind of thing where, how everyone latches onto the screw job saying it's when WWE jumped the shark necessarily, and then everyone every time the anniversary comes around to Bret Hart being screwed by Shawn Michaels, everyone goes, oh, quick, make a video. And then you go from having this one person sitting in a bedroom going Bret Hart was screwed by Shawn Michaels to about 10 other YouTubers all doing the same video, just changing the wording. I feel like that's what has happened with December to Dismember, but I feel like we're going to be one of the few people in a large swimming pool that actually enjoyed this. And we've watched ECW, and Ash made a great point of do the people who grew up and who actually who say this pay-per-view sucks, did they actually grow up with, did they actually watch the ECWs up to it? Did they actually enjoy it?
Because the one thing I find is I feel like if you didn't watch it, it is going to be garbage and it is going to be terrible because you look at the card. All right, I'll just run through all the matches just to, if you've not been watching ECW, this card's going to look fucking shit. And I accept that. But also, first match was the Hardy Boys versus Eminem, which, not really an ECW tag team at all, but genuinely good match. Then we had Balls Mahoney, which, honestly, he's actually over with the crowd. He is a sleeper hit among all the ECW guys because he can still go, and he's actually quite good. He does very good in this sort of 4 or 5 minute match territory versus Matt Striker, who is I don't know. I describe it as a fucking the genius. Maybe not that high, but he is the Larry Poffo type. He is the fucking I would say Dean Martin, but I don't even know if he did rules. But he is the generic heel who believes he's better than you and is a teacher, so he's going to condescend you, and it's going to be great. Then you have Elijah Burke and Sylvester Terkay versus the FBI. Some nice little ECW representation. And, you also get over the new talent. Daivari versus Dreamer. Fuck this match. Kevin Thorne and Ariel versus Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly. A match that is very absurdly overly criticized, which I understand because it's not a very good match technically, but I kind of see it as it is the freak show match. It's the, oh, what the fuck, really? All right, then. All right, go on.
And then we obviously have the main event, which is the Extreme Elimination Chamber match. I missed bits of it because of I was doing the thumbnail. But generally from when I was...
Bobby Lashley, The Big Show, RVD, Hardcore Holly, CM Punk, and Test.
And obviously I was kind of looking at my monitor, and then I was sort of what's happening over here? It was generally intriguing. Generally, we're not being sarcastic when we say this. This has been one of the better pay-per-views of 2006. I just hope Armageddon has this kind of rolling. But obviously, we're going to be like them YouTubers who are like, this pay-per-view shit. Why? I didn't watch the build-up. It's shit immediately. So we're
Well,
all...
it's like we can we can already look at it and be like, yeah, okay, fair enough, because we haven't really enjoyed the Raws or the Smackdowns, but we have enjoyed the fucking we have enjoyed pretty much every like all the ECW stuff, and it's understandable. I completely understand why, but also like we weren't watching the Raws, we weren't watching the Smackdowns, so therefore it doesn't make sense as to why we didn't enjoy those pay-per-views. But we have been watching the ECW, which has, it's been our main fucking source of interest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Um,
I feel like everybody talking about the show has been greatly exaggerated. If you just watch this pay-per-view alone, you're like, what the fuck is this? And I get it, I understand, but also I don't agree.
so before we actually get into our thoughts and everything, obviously I mentioned this on the previous episode that you can go check out where we discussed the build up to this pay-per-view. If we're going to be a bit off hinge here, it's because it's like 10:55 at night. So if you click on this going, oh, they're going to talk about CM Punk, then we somehow end up talking about like Matt Striker's knob and his bollocks. Don't worry, that's just normal over here because we like to fucking get on the train and fucking ooh. But obviously I mentioned on the last episode we are going to discuss kind of the plans going forward. The reason I'm bringing this up on the pay-per-view is we only have one pay-per-view left of this calendar year. And that pay-per-view is Armageddon.
Which will be worse than this one.
Which is Armageddon because it's a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, and just a heads up, SmackDown, I feel like, and it's going to be very controversial, SmackDown has the weakest roster of all three brands. Because Raw's the star power, ECW's like the middle child no one gives a shit about, and SmackDown's like the overlooked, well, not the overlooked child, but the child who just gets shit on, which is accurate for this time period. And I know I'm saying that when ECW has Mike Knox, Sandman, Boss Mahoney, and fucking SmackDown has Booker T, Batista, and Chris Benoit. I know that's a jelly sandwich you don't want to swallow, but let's be honest. Would you rather watch 45 minutes of wrestling or an hour and a half of wrestling? You know what I mean? It's like, would you rather be? It's like how I describe the American election coming up. Would you rather a nail in the bollocks or a kick in the bollocks? Like one's gonna be worse than the other, but you have to choose. Like it's either
but neither's a good option.
Yeah, neither's a good option. But like it's either you get the nail in the bollocks or you get kicked. Kicking is the easiest solution, but if you want the nail, you get the nail. And so obviously you might wonder, what are we doing? Well, we're still going to continue WWE ECW, but we're going to jump ahead a little bit because I don't want to stick to one main project. I like to work on kind of multiple projects or kind of make this a side project to another project, if that makes sense. And so what's going to happen is we are going to start in the year 2010, in about a few weeks' time. We're going to start at the Royal Rumble 2010. And now I know it's going to be a bit muddy because we haven't watched the ECWs yet, but don't worry. In about 3 years, we'll get there. And the Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, and all the pay-per-views leading up to June. Now, why June? Well, Ashley, are you Nexus or are you against us? Lead us into why to this next arc. That will be just a side note, by the way. This is the arc that we're going to talk about is going to be the main arc. ECW is going to be the side arc. Okay, it will flip flop. So there will be 1 year where ECW is the main arc, and there is a side arc. But for this next year or so, this is going to be the main arc. So again, are you Nexus or are you against it?
Yeah, it's a really good time. This was one that I pretty much went, I want to fucking do this, which is still funny because I also went, I want to fucking do WWE ECW as well. So some would say all my ideas are coming out on top. But yeah, because when ECW got axed, they needed a new product to put on the screens, and what they decided was to do NXT. NXT based on a more cartoony, I guess, not necessarily cartoony, but they decided that it's now been colloquially dubbed as Game Show NXT. because they take all these FCW wrestlers, which was the developmental before NXT. They take all these FCW wrestlers and they put them in this game show to try and endear them to an audience. But whilst doing that, they also want some little stupid challenges because because WWE, I guess. So you have all these proper and some famous wrestlers, some not so famous. You have some Hall of Fame contenders. The first season of NXT you have Wade Barrett, of course. Maybe didn't have the most extensive career, but had a very long running career, multiple time Intercontinental Champion. You have Heath Slater, notoriously known for losing, but we'll see how that shapes up on NXT. You have fucking Daniel Bryan, obviously Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, fucking doing all this shit in WWE. Like,
you know what's funny? Just before you continue, it's gonna be so funny because obviously Ash knows that I always state that Bryan Daniel Bryan is better than Shawn Michaels. It's gonna be absolutely funny seeing one of my favorite wrestlers being like, drink the most amount of piss within 3 minutes. It's like, oh god. And then it's like, Brian, you're gonna put on a 30-minute classic, and it's like, I just drank a 3-liter bottle of piss, and now you want me to put on a 30-minute classic? I can do it, Vince, but you're stretching. And then obviously we have the infamous the debut, and Daniel Bryan chalks out Justin Roberts, and then Mattel like call up to the rear and like, can you fire this guy? He's kind of like against the brand we're going for here. We are going to pull the tie deal if you don't fire him. And then they obviously.
No, I suppose I will say. Obviously, I've mentioned all the big names: Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater. Did I mention Justin Gabriel?
Yeah, you mentioned Justin Gabriel. You mentioned.
Okay, Justin Gabriel, high flyer. Didn't really have the most glowing career in WWE, but still had a decent chunk of impact on the time he was there. So there we are. Those are the big boys. They are the better wrestlers. Now, let's talk about some of the others. You had everybody's favorite lawyer who sips coffee, David Otunga. Ooh, not really the finest.
Feel the power.
Yeah, the only thing I remember him from is for that theme from WWE 12
and 13.
And 13. And then you have Darren Young, which, you give and take because Fred Rosser, now fucking wrestle New Japan Strong, fucking openly gay wrestler, cool shit, fucking gangster shit. Not quite yet, though. He's not quite there yet. And he didn't really get that far in WWE, but he was on NXT Redemption, which is absolutely fucking awful, but good shit. Then you have Skip Sheffield. His catchphrase was "Yep, what it do?" It's Ryback. It is Ryback in a corn. They call him the corn-fed meathead, and he was stupid. He was probably closest to Ryback he has ever been. Honestly, he's a fucking idiot. But he has a cool finisher.
The only thing they forgot to include was a bag of chips, so he can do that by looking into the camera.
Exactly. And the final one is Michael Tarver, whose entire gimmick, he is probably the most forgettable part of the Nexus. Michael Tarver was a guy who his dad was friends with Iron Mike Tyson, and he was his training partner. So he's Mr. 305 because he can knock you out. He can knock you out in 305 seconds or some shit like that. Like, he's most famously known for John Cena calling him, saying he looks like a male stripper. I can't lie, but that's the thing. And they have different pros, And the first season's fairly bolstered with talent. A lot of actually decent pros. Wade Barrett's pro, Chris Jericho, fucking world champion at the time. Absolutely bossing this bitch. David Otunga's is R-Truth. Justin Gabriel's is Matt Hardy. Interesting little connection. Both formerly high flyers. Heath Slater's pro being Christian, which we love. Darren Young's pro being CM Punk. Banger. Skip Sheffield's pro being William Regal, which,
Bryan would have.
Daniel Bryan's pro being The Miz, which, the rest is history. And this one's not equally as rogue. Michael Tarver's pro being Carlito.
I've read a little bit on fucking NXT season 1, and one thing that fucked with me was Carlito got released, so they had to quickly go, Michael Tarver, get the fuck out of the fucking season, you bitch.
Yeah. But obviously, that whole season wraps round. It's like a 13, 15-week show. Wraps up slowly. Then they progress. They have the Nexus angle where they take over Raw, and they're taking over. We're not rookies anymore. We are fucking leading this brand. And it carries on. They have the big match at SummerSlam. It continues to TLC at the end, and that's generally where it wraps. But yeah, it's I don't know. I adore Game Show NXT to no end. It was probably the show I watched most growing up, which is a bit rogue, I can't lie. It's not really the finest dose of wrestling, but it's just like ECW, it's a very good 45-minute show, pretty much. I think it's an hour long. And you know me, I like my wrestling shows short. But yeah, that'll obviously start out as soon as we finish. Maybe not as soon as, might be a little break in between when we finish this year of ECW, and then we'll probably have a little break from ECW for, I don't know, not too long, a couple of weeks. And then obviously we'll bring it both back, and then you'll get 2 different shows with 2 entirely different times in wrestling. So
it's also, if people are wondering how it's going to work, it's basically season 1 of NXT, and then from the first week of June, I want to say, we're covering the Raw from the first week of June till technically the last week of December. So it's a rough...
Which sounds shit. Sounds shit.
It does.
I like the Nexus. I don't like Raw. I've never liked Raw that much. I've always been a SmackDown guy.
We're covering the SmackDown, fuck Raw.
But yeah, he's getting distracted. All in all, I'm excited to do it. So it's something I've always wanted to cover. There's been multiple iterations of me trying to cover NXT and wanting to do it properly, but also never really had the right time. But it's the perfect time to give it a go.
Nice. Sorry, my dad was Bob Raw.
Nice. But yeah, I look forward to it, and when you get to kick it off, it'd be great fun.
So obviously how it's going to work is, obviously, I believe it's Royal Rumble, then the start of NXT, then Elimination Chamber, then WrestleMania, but then obviously NXT, WrestleMania, NXT, then Extreme Rules, and then I think NXT, and then Money in the Bank, I want to say, or Capital Punishment, one of the two, and then obviously Raw, and then the pay-per-views. Would we cover SmackDown? We could, but it's just going to be... It's just going to be...
I'm a one-show kind of man.
It's going to be like 45 minutes of action, and then last night on Raw, fucking Triple H battered Stone Cold, or not Stone Cold, battered The Undertaker, and beat him to a bloody pulp, and it's like, oh. And you can watch Raw on Sci-Fi. Do you know the enemy? Do you know your enemy?
Enemy, banger tune. I wouldn't mind watching. I kind of want to watch SmackDown in 09, which is a bit rogue, but I kind of want to do it as well. So I got all the time and all the plans in the world.
We're gonna say that, and then Christmas comes, and we're like, well, sorry, Raw, you have to be postponed because we have a shift over.
Exactly. But with all that aside, that addressing the Nexus, that is, yeah, just piggies in Christmas gear, because we are reviewing December to Dismember back in the Augusta, Georgia, in the James Brown Arena. Where the fuck is Augusta, Georgia? That's a throwback. But yeah, let's actually start to go through. As said before, if you're expecting us to be like, this show was the worst fucking show I've ever seen, like, it's not happening. I genuinely enjoyed this show. as much as I've not really enjoyed a lot of ECW, I think I probably disliked more ECWs than enjoyed. This show was actually quite sound. And we'll get into as and why. But the first match is the one night only, where the Hardy Boys team up again versus Eminem. Now, I don't know why they did the one night only stipulation. I can't lie, because the Hardys have teamed together twice already. Like, they already teamed together on ECW. So I'm not sure what the fuck this is about.
And
Maybe it's just both tag teams being on ECW when they're SmackDown tag teams.
and also Eminem we're also supposed to be back for one night only, but they also work Armageddon. That's for people who don't know, that's the match where Matt Hardy I think it's Matt Hardy.
I mean, we'll be covering it anyways.
Yeah, it's where Matt Hardy absolutely fucks up Joey Mockery's nose by accident.
Yes.
He doesn't literally punch him in the face. He backs and drops
ladder straight to the schnoz.
Yeah.
Fucking explosion of his face.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, but also I believe that's the pay-per-view where Undertaker throws Mr. Kennedy off the stage, and you get a Kane MVP Inferno match. So, so 2 weeks time, don't you fucking worry, we'll be at Armageddon.
And I'll be complaining more than I will during this show. The Hardys versus Eminem was actually a very strong match. It went 22 minutes 33. It was nice back and forth. A lot of cool double team moves. A decent chunk of spots. I don't know. I really enjoyed the match. It was actually probably one of the best tag team matches we've watched whilst covering ECW and covering this time period in general. Because I don't really view this time period as a very strong time for tag teams. Like, as much as you have like the occasional tag team of fucking Edge and Randy and DX, but like they're not really wrestling for the tag belts, are they? Like, your current tag champions, is it still Roddy Piper and Ric Flair, or did they lose it already?
I'm pretty sure they've already. I'm assuming they've already lost it.
No, it's rated RKO. It's rated RKO.
Yeah. Sorry, we're so checked out of like 2006, and we only have one more pay per view to go, and 3 more ECWs, and well, technically 4, but one of them is going to be us just going, who's this award contest for best nuns in the wrestling? It's Marty's girl. Hey.
Did you have much to recall from this Eminem Hardy Boys match? I thought it was genuinely very good.
It was genuinely an underrated match. It's like it's weird because you can't really compare TNA's tag division to WWE's tag division at this time, because TNA have like I don't know if America's Most Wanted have split up yet, or they're roughly splitting up around this time. You have Styles and Daniels. You have like on the TNA side like Styles, Daniels, LAX, all those kind of guys. W, I could name more. Team 3D, Team Canada probably. And then WWE only really have rated RKO and DX and the Highlanders. And even on SmackDown, I genuinely couldn't name you a tag team. Actually, I could name you a tag team. The Basham.
The Highlanders?
No, the Highlanders are on Raw.
Oh, but yeah, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's probably the Bashams that I could name, and probably Rey Mysterio and Batista if you want to count that. But generally,
yeah, but they've already broken up.
Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. And then ECW's tag team division is
Finlay and Regal.
Oh.
The Royal Subjects, probably.
But ECW's tag division is literally only Daivari and Greg Khali. But
yeah, but they don't even tag. The only members of the tag division are the FBI. That's it. And Big Guido's not even there anymore to look scary, so
I like to.
What's the fucking point?
I like. It's like when they're trying to push for like tag team Hell in a Cell matches and shit. So they generally went, oh, we have FTR, we have the Usos, we have the New Day, and there's probably another tag team that I'm forgetting. I'm not including NXT. And it's like, okay, who are we gonna put in this Hell in a Cell match? Everyone's seen the match, but it's in Hell in a Cell now. The Usos versus the New Day, and it's like, oh, Finn. It's like, how about a TLC match between the Usos and the New Day? And it's like, oh no. But yeah, generally their tag division is so bleak here, and it does not get better. Literally, the only time I can recall a good tag division from WWE after this point is probably NXT in the mid 2010s, because you have like fucking my favorite tag team, Oni and Danny, like Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, where they just fuck you up. And I still say they should be in the Blackpool Combat Club. I know Oni's a producer, but I just love to see that bald man
Is he?
wrestle. I believe he's a producer. Yeah, I believe he's a producer for. It's like a road agent. I believe he got let go of at WWE, and then he went, guys, can I? He didn't say directly, guys, can I have my job back? But he went back, and they went, yeah, you can be an agent now. He's just an agent. Meanwhile,
Fair
fucking
enough.
Danny Burch is struggling at 40.
Yeah, he retired. He
Yeah,
is a coach at the Performance Center.
yeah. Which I mean, I wouldn't mind being trained by him. He seemed like he'd go a bit stiff, but I'd give it a go. Yeah, so like that's the only time I can recall a good tag division, and maybe '09 with Legacy and DX. But again, you're only really counting 2 tag teams there, and Hornswoggle, I guess, and Finley. But
Yeah, do you have anything to actually say about this match, though?
I like the Hardys' offense in this match, like Matt and Jeff working together, because they haven't been a tag team in the past 2 years, roughly in the past 2 years, well, 5, or not, whenever, or 3 years ago.
About
Yeah.
3, yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, 03, about 02, so about, let's say 4. They haven't really been a tag team, because Jeff's obviously, he's in mysterious land. He was in mysterious land for a few years, because we can't mention the company, because we're WWE. And so seeing Jeff back with Matt Hardy, it's great to see. I like the Hardy Boys, but do I like modern Hardy Boys? No. This time period is good enough.
Yeah, but this is 06 Hardy Boys. They're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
They worked really well together. You could see the clear development. Matt's a bit more built than he used to be. Like,
That's generally.
I one thing I did like. I like how they kind of, I don't know, did they used to do a move where Matt would kind of pick up a wrestler and set up Jeff, who stood on the top rope. Like, he would put him up and put him in a powerbomb position. Then they'd hit like a powerbomb neck breaker. Did they used to do that?
I don't think they do it. No,
Because they started to incorporate this in like this series of matches, and it's a cool fucking move. Because it's a powerbomb off the top rope into a neck break. Oh, it's fucking delicious.
Isn't that basically?
They don't get to hit it in this match because I think Joey Mercury like kicks him, but it's a cool little extra like spot to build to.
Is that the move that Batista would do with Randy Orton, the Batista RKO, the Batista bomb KO?
Yeah, but it wasn't in the it wasn't from the top rope, so
Fair enough.
fucking trump you on that one. But yeah, no, it went 22 minutes 33. It was genuinely a very good match. It was a back and forth. It was nice little decent set of high flying, but also Eminem are heels, so they're not high flying that much. And you know, Matt Hardy's never really been that much of a high flyer in the first place. So no, it was genuinely very good. I did enjoy it. It's probably my favorite tag match we've seen so far in watching 2006. So the next match is well, the next match starts as Matt Striker comes out. He does this whole thing. The Extreme Elimination Chamber is gonna be really, really hard. Could you imagine me in that match? No. And imagine it's in Extreme Rules. Would you want to see me in an Extreme Rules match? Yeah. Then he goes, yeah, an Extreme Rules match. An extremely what was the word? It just is basically an extremely focused on the rules match where there's no eye pulling, there's no eye pulling, no hair pulling, no eye gouging, no moves off the top rope. And this is Striker's rules. But his opponent is Balls Mahoney, who, as I said before, Balls Mahoney is kind of he's the sleeper hit of the ECW talent who was brought back because he can still go pretty well. He's got a decent enough moveset that the crowd gets behind, and he's just genuinely quite likable for some reason, despite looking absolutely disgusting. He's just surprisingly likable. He's got this sense of presence that I wasn't expecting to like.
It's weird. It's very weird because going into this, I did not think Balls Balls Mahoney would be the dark horse of ECW. I thought
Not at all.
I thought that'd be Punk, and I know that's going to upset people, or Van Dam. But Jesus, like Balls Mahoney.
I like Sandman maybe if they used him. Like maybe, but yeah.
But like Balls Mahoney is like that horse you don't back in the racing because you think it's shit, and then he immediately comes out of left field out of nowhere and wins the race. And you're like, fuck. That's all I can describe it as. Like he's generally the horse that comes out of nowhere, wins the race, and somehow gets over. Also, there's no swearing allowed in this match. I got reminded of local hero Joe Hendry vibes, because remember Joe Hendry's whole gimmick in ICW, I believe, was no swearing. You can't do anything like that. I just got reminded of that. No swearing, like.
But yeah, and it was a decent match. It was surprisingly focused on the elbow. Like there was a lot of like fucking like wrist locks and like arm bars being put on in this match. And it's a 7-minute match. It's just a pretty nice, well structured, decent back and forth. But Balls Mahoney picks up with the win with his pretty decent spine buster.
Yeah, it's a pretty good spine buster. They just I don't want to say it's like a Tokyo Dome match, but it is. I feel like it's just two lads. Like you know, like in Mexico where you have these two retired wrestlers, but they go out to have one last match together.
Yeah.
And you think it's going to stink up the show, but somehow they fucking
They just beat the fuck out of each other.
Yeah.
Like they're giving like sweat, piss, and vinegar. Just fucking like, ugh. They're putting everything they have. They have to get carried out at the end. That's this match. And I will say, Matt Striker also debuted the famous Trunks, where he has his face on his ass, which I love as a gimmick, and it is fucking good.
And I believe Joey Styles says something like, "I can't trust a man who wants to sit in his own face."
Exactly, which is pretty good. I mean, Taz would do it, but he'd probably, if he was doing that, he'd like roll down the fucking hill. Start tumbling down.
Like Sonic.
Like in Skate, just fucking wee. That's a fat joke. He's just really round, isn't he? He's impressively round.
He's not. Okay, I don't want people to think we're fat shaming Taz, because we're not. But unless Ash genuinely is, he's not fat.
No, you can do what he wants. He's living his best life. He's fucking chilling.
He's not fat.
He's just rolling. He's just round. Yeah. You know, like Rhino's just gotten wider. Like Taz is just round. I don't even feel like he's fat. He's just round. That's the only way I can describe it. He does, like, he's probably a bit overweight. Can't lie, but he's just everything about him's round. It's great fun.
It's weird because now there's only 2 instances where I can think this off. But you think Taz's son Hook? Sorry, he's not really. His name's not revealed yet, but it's Hook. Sorry for the lads who are still in draft and 6. But Hook is you think like Hook will get the build that Taz had because of father and son, but no, it's just weird seeing Hook's just this. I don't want to say twink, but he's basically a twink. Like he's just ripped, like and in shape, and just skinny. And then it's like the other example I have is Arn Anderson and Brock Anderson. Where it's like, oh well, Brock had all the muscles that Arn had, where Arn's obviously built like a grandfather from the '60s. But no, fucking Brock Anderson, belly flopping out and everything. Not built like him.
Baby Anderson, just fucking.
But it's
yeah.
It's so
but yeah, this match though, it was pretty good, and I did enjoy it. It was a nice little set piece kind of match. It wasn't really supposed to be groundbreaking anyway, but once again, it puts Balls over, puts Striker over because he gets his. In the world of extreme, Striker's rules are about enforcing the rules and not fucking breaking them. Gotta love it. I do enjoy it completely. 7 minutes, 12 seconds. I think at this time we see Sabu. He's on the floor injured, and we then see him getting carted away in a stretcher. And well, who's Sabu's fucking opponent? Who's Sabu being replaced by? Hardcore Holly.
Hardcore Holly. we will talk about it in the match, but generally, how I can describe this is imagine your two children, right? And like you really want the yellow car your best friend has. So like you're really like, oh man, I'd love to have the yellow car. You know, I'd really love to have the yellow car. And then Vince is basically that child who puts it down his crotch, rubs it around, and then takes it out, starts licking it, and then throws it at you and goes, fine, have the yellow card. And then it's like, that's how I describe it. Where Paul Heyman's like, Sabu could win, Punk can win, Van Dam can win. Yeah, Sabu can win, Sabu can win. Fuck off. He's getting replaced. Wanker. He's just like that moody teenager. I don't know why I'm imagining Vince as a moody teenager, just the power. That's what you get, you fucking dipshit. Try and book him in this match. He's getting replaced.
I'm trying to find why.
He was apparently injured, from what I understand.
Yeah, like I'm trying to just get an extra reason why Sabu didn't appear at this show. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why. But yeah, that's not even too bad, honestly.
No.
Sorry, I'm just reading this. The event had attendance of 4,800, decent crowd, and received about 90,000 pay-per-view buys.
Not bad, man.
That's not bad. That's really not that bad. I don't understand why it's so fucking supposedly garbage.
I mean, hey, at least they filled the seats on like AEW.
Fuck's sake. Yeah, he knows I'm gonna laugh at him. That's the problem. I'm fucking. I don't know why everybody thinks the show was so like. Obviously, it's not what it could have been. You compare this to One Night Stands, and you're like, oh fucking hell, show shit. But like, you're having to put ECW on its own ass to stand out and be a show. And the show doesn't have an identity yet. This is what the identity of ECW in this iteration is supposed to be. But you just like. We'll get into it after the main event, but I'm getting upset reading like all the fucking drama surrounding this. Like, fuck off.
Obviously, like it's like NXT, where they established NXT first. It was a game show, I know, but then they went, okay, we're gonna make this serious. Then they had a tournament, and obviously Seth Rollins won, beating Jinder Mahal, future WWE champion. Yes, I'm not gonna let people forget that. Apparently, and I don't know if this has been fact checked, but Jinder Mahal's WWE title reign has lasted longer than all of Edge's World Heavyweight title reigns combined.
Yeah. That's gold.
So when people say Jinder Mahal is a shit champion, he has lasted longer than all of Edge's title reigns combined. No one can say that. I think someone got very pissy because Tozawa has apparently won more championships than The Undertaker, apparently. And people go, the 24/7 title doesn't count. It's still a title. He still has technically held more titles. So
but yeah,
it's like NXT, how they built it first and then put a pay-per-view out. But the problem you have is at least there was a booker for NXT where Vince went, yeah, okay, Paul, you take over that. I'll focus on this. You do that. Over here in 2006, it is again two moody teenagers fighting. You want CM Punk? Well, fuck you. He's getting buried. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah. And then, we'll get to that at the end.
And then it's like, oh God, why do I have to work with this child? It's basically how Punk imagines Tony Khan. Like he's a child in a man's world. That's basically Paul and Vince. Because it's literally, okay.
It's the same fucking thing. The parallels are right there. No one listens to the legends. Everybody's fucking tired and upset. Fuck off. But yeah, let's rattle through it, because the next couple of matches are pretty fucking filler. The next match is Elijah Burke and Sylvester Terkay, not debuting on pay-per-view, but like their first proper match, I'd argue, against the FBI, which get a nice little like fandom. They get a nice little bit of representation for the ECW original types. This match goes 6 minutes 41. It's not very good, but it's perfectly sizable. God. Elijah Burke wins with the Elijah experience, which is it's like a weird skull crushing finale, but without hooking it in a full Nelson. Essentially, that is the Elijah experience. It was a decent enough match. Got Takai, got decent moves in. Got Elijah Burke, decent moves in as well. And you had some nice little funny moments with little Guido grabbing the hat, and it was just a established new talent type match. So I didn't hate it.
And, and obviously, this being ECW fans, they chant a little Guido, "Where's our pizza?" or "Where's my pizza?" Which I don't know whether to be offended or laugh. I'm not offended. Don't worry, I'm not offended. But it's like, imagine chanting anywhere else, people would shit on you for that. Because this is America, it's funny. If it was Italy, it'd be even funnier. Still, but then it's gonna come up
But
to
yeah,
German. But I like this. It's building up Elijah Park, because you have to build stars. You can't, if you're building a promotion from the ground up, you can't just. You can bring in all the fucking ex WWE guys. You can bring in all the legends from WCW. You can bring in fucking anyone that you can find star power for. You can fucking bring in Big Daddy. Why not? If he's alive, you could bring him in. But does that matter when you need a foundation? And the foundation is the people you make. Yes, sure, you can have Kurt Angle. Sure, you can have Christian. But are they going to be there when
are they going to be there in 5 years?
Are they going to be there when things
No.
go tits up? Because the only thing I can describe this to is like when AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and everyone was there from TNA. Well, I know Joe was 05, but they were there from TNA from like 02 to 14, 15, 16. And then basically they went, "Dixie, you're going to pay us." Dixie went, "I think Sting deserves another title run." And I was like, "Yeah, but I need to feed my kids." And again, I think Sting needs another title run. And they all went, "You bitch, we died for this company." Well, not died, we gave blood for this company. This is how you treat us. And that's what I feel like needs to be done in wrestling. Because it's all good. Like, it's the problem if people saying AEW doesn't have stars. They do have, obviously, ex-WWE guys. But they also do have generally built stars. Like Ospreay, I think, is one of the best baby faces in pro wrestling, because he's
not built by AEW though.
Yeah, he's not built by
He's
AEW.
been tearing up in Japan the whole fucking time.
Yeah,
not built by AEW. Take Darby Allin for example.
Yeah, or Swerve. I'd
Yeah.
consider Swerve built by them.
Yeah.
You take all those guys. You have Britt Baker as well. I'd say. I know Tony.
Think she's garbage. Think she's fucking shit.
Jamie Hayter, Timeless Tony Storm, if you want to include her. Bye Bye Luther. I know that was a joke one. Don't worry, that was a joke one. So like they're obviously building.
But yeah, they have the 4 pillars out of the
Yeah.
base of the company, and they are probably going to stay in the company for the next 10, 15 years. Like,
until Tony.
Yeah, until they get bored and go to WWE.
Right. It's generally the thing where you have to, if you just don't treat your talent right, and then you just go, "All right, we're not going to use you." So after all my sacrifice, I put my body on the line for you. You're just going to throw me out on the street. I was like, "Yeah, what are you going to do? You're going to fail, because you're not going to be bigger in any other company." And then obviously what happens is, well, we usually see the reverse of this, where WWE go, "Yeah, Dijak, you're not going to be good outside our company." And then he goes on the indies, and everyone's like, "Holy shit, Dijak's good." But that's usually what happens, where people just throw these wrestlers and go, You're not going to be good in the other promotions because we use you to the fullest." And then they go on like WPW, DPW, and it's like, holy shit, these guys are good. It's just all about building your talent and making them stay. And the problem with ECW is they don't have any talent they build, because every talent they build gets either buried by Test, Big Show, or Hardcore Holly. And every time you want the babyface to win, Vince literally pulls a rug out from under you, and it's like, they could have won, but they didn't. But that's sorry for my awful explanation, but that's how I basically describe it. It's generally how I do.
Yeah, absolutely overly described like a motherfucker. You need those pillars of the future, and if they're not going to be there in the future, you're probably investing in the wrong guys. Now, you can have the talents that last for 1-2 years, sure, but you still need that foundation of guys to still be there when the fucking superstars go. Like Balls Mahoney will probably be there for the next couple years.
I don't think he.
I don't know if he is.
No, he's not. He's definitely gone by 07. But
well.
like companies like PWG, where they just bring in these kind of guys one-off, is different. Because
PWG.
But I was going to say Defiant Pro Wrestling, aka WCPW, but I'm like, can I really compare that? But
do we need comparisons if your comparisons are these like shit companies?
But like if people are going to what about PWG? It's different for a company that's only putting on matches and not building a show. There's a big difference between something like PWG versus like we're gonna have Keith Lee versus Swerve Strickland. Why? Because it's a fat lad versus a skinny lad. That's why.
Because it's a good match, that's why.
Yeah, basically. Sorry for my weird explanation. But yeah, there's a difference between a promotion that just puts on matches and a company that's trying to build and put on matches. And sure, through work and hardship and everything, even if you get low ratings, people will still back you. People will still go, fuck, I actually appreciate this brand. I appreciate this company.
I mean, you also need something to believe in, right? You need an identity to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And ECW at this point is catering to no one. Because it's not catering to the WWE fans who they'll just watch fucking Raw or SmackDown, which is 10 times better than it. And you're not getting to the ECW fans because, well, fucking the hardcore's gone. And you're now just seeing this saturated a bunch of WWE guys fucking cosplaying as ECW wrestlers or extremists, like they like to call it, which is absolutely horrific a term to try and adopt. Like, fuck me, how fucking garbage. You really want to call your wrestlers extremists? I really want to call them extremists. But the point being, at the end of the day, you need that surface level of people who will stay there, who you can build around for the future, and actually have that. You know, you need that failsafe. Okay, Bobby Lashley didn't work as champion. Who's next? An actual cool wrestler who fans can believe in? Probably not. Probably fucking
Vince
not.
McMahon is the next champion after Bobby.
But I suppose finally, because this has gone on way too fucking long, that segment. Next up, we have Daivari versus Tommy Dreamer in the match that fucking stunk up the fucking show to no end. It's 7 minutes 22 of Daivari versus Tommy Dreamer. It's fucking garbage. I know I've made my feelings pretty clear on Tommy Dreamer, but why? Why is he even out there? Fucking be an agent. Be literally anything else than an on-screen wrestler, for fuck's sake.
I mean, I lost a lot of respect for Dreamer. I did I genuinely did respect Dreamer. He's an alright performer. I always thought he was an alright performer. What generally pissed me off with Dreamer was the fact when he went on Dark Side of the Ring and dug his grave, where he might have done that. Ric Flair might have done the helicopter to the attendant, but Ric Flair's just one of the boys. You know, you just do that thing, and it's like Dreamer. You know, you can say that on the internet behind a Twitter account called Miyazaki2253, but you can't say that on national TV. Like that, and that's where I lost respect. And plus, him just being like, "I'm gonna work all these indies."
He's also just mental as fuck. Like he's showing the effects of you should not be. It's like he told a story how he actively blacks out for a couple hours sometimes. That's how bad the CTE's got. Like, maybe don't trust him with actual big decisions in your wrestling company. He doesn't need to wrestle the same shit hardcore matches over and over again anymore.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I just fucking hate Dreamer. This was Daivari won. I don't remember how.
Dreamer got distracted, I believe. Daivari rolled up his tights.
Oh, the trunks. He
the trunk.
like held the trunks, and then Dreamer runs to the back and gets choke bombed by Carly onto the steel, which looked fucking sore. And then they replayed it about 20 times just for me. Just yes, yes. So yeah, fuck this match. It was the worst thing on the show. Like, why's Daivari got to be here? Why's Great Khali got to be here stinking up? And Dreamer as well. Like, no one wants to see this match ever.
I do. It's just the visual. I like to imagine Vince goes to SmackDown and Raw, and like, okay, we need a big name to put on ECW so people will buy December to Dismember. Need a big name. Oh, how about John Cena? Vince. Nah. Batista. Not really. Undertaker. Hell no. Oh, do you know who I see over there? And you just see Daivari eating catering. It's like, that man. I want that man on the show.
And like, I recognize that from the like I said before, from the hopes of One Night Stand, you can respect like, okay, this is fucking shit. Because take the last One Night Stand, RVD, fucking John Cena, Sabu, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, Randy Orton. Like, these matches are big deals and are genuinely very interesting. But at the same time, that's not with ECW guys. That's with some ECW guys versus WWE guys. Like, you can't sell it on that. Like, you're taking out the safety beyond ECW. All right, stand on your own feet. We've been building you for like 6 months now. It's your show. You've got to make it your own, even if the decisions are a bit shit. Even if the decisions are a bit fucking garbage. You've got to make it stand out. This is your chance to fucking strive.
I mean, obviously we'll talk more because I plan to go in depth. Well, I plan to go in depth if you don't mind, about like what happened behind the scenes with this show, because it's very
I pulled up some stuff.
like it's very unfortunate what happens. But one of the issues is Survivor Series was a week before, and we're in a time period where you can't just pull up the WWE Network and find WCW from 1995. You're at a time period where people have to buy DVDs, have to buy pay-per-views, and the problem you run into is, so say Survivor Series is 60 quid in America. I think it's only 20 in Europe, I believe. I'm not too sure. Say it's 60 quid, and then they're going, buy this pay-per-view for 40 or 50. It's like, and then plus you have Armageddon, which is another 50. It's like, that's a bit more. You're asking your fans.
It's like, if you're struggling, are you gonna buy fucking December to Dismember? No, you're fucking not, because you bought Survivor Series. The show is actually pretty good. That you're satisfied. You don't like. Why would you watch? Why would you go for this one immediately?
Exactly, and that's the big issue I've ran into it. If this replaced Armageddon, I would have been happy and give it time to build up and actually put matches on it. Because
I actually booked the card beforehand.
Even if it's going to be shit, like even a shit house can be something to live in. Like, well, it's a stink of shit, but still you can live in it. Even then even if you believe in it, it could work. Like, let's just say we wait till December 17th or whenever Armageddon is. Say we wait till then and we put ECW there, giving fans 3-4 weeks after fucking Survivor Series. You know that Phil, everyone got a Thanksgiving. You had John Cena and everyone on the show. Give them time to build. Go, okay, ECW, go and prove yourself, and actually prove, instead of basically going Survivor Series then, come on out everyone, do, and then fucking just blasting everyone in the face with it. It's extremely.
No, it's like all right, I could really do a couple weeks to get in shape. I want to I want to get in shape. I want to get in proper shape to do this. And then like 3 days in, they like tot you out in like a corset, just like, hello baby. It's like, I wasn't fucking ready for this, was I? Like, if you gave me a couple of weeks, could have been better. But they didn't get a couple of weeks. This was awfully shoddily put together.
It's again AEW reference coming up. It's like last year when they had All In and All Out a week after, and it's like, how can you do All Out?
Literally nobody wants to watch this.
Yeah, because also you had of course the CM Punk issues, but you did have literally All In, which was your biggest show of the year, followed by All Out. I can only describe it like really putting on the Elimination Chamber 2 weeks before WrestleMania, night 1 and night 2, and it's like, oh no.
Just you need to pace this stuff. I do agree, but yeah, we've been pacing this show as the next match is Kevin Thorne and Ariel versus Mike Knox and Kelly. Now, I will say once again, this match has 2 non-wrestlers and 2 barely wrestlers, so it was never going to be fundamentally a strong wrestling match. That's fine. Fine by me. And it's a mixed tag match, so there is going to be a bit of the fucking. It's kind of the freak show attraction, really. You have Kelly, and Ariel, 2 wrestlers who aren't wrestlers. Like, they weren't bought in to be wrestlers. Ariel spends half the match bending over on the apron where the camera's like, oh, fucking hell, you seen them fucking cheeks? It's like, fucking hell, come on, do you want to just calm down? Like, smash.
Fucking watching the fucking pay-per-view.
And then you have Kevin Thorne and Mike Knox, 2 people who aren't particularly interesting, and neither's supposed to be a face in this match, so there's no heat in it whatsoever. But, goes back and forth, some nice lariats, some nice fucking moves. Even Kelly and Ariel's bit wasn't even too bad.
Yeah,
like,
genuinely,
it was decent for what it was.
Genuinely, only a reference Ash can get. But we have.
I love it when you do these on a podcast going out to people.
But again, this is like our friend Slater when Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy have a match. The two of his favorite, well, Orange Cassidy's favorite, but like Roderick Strong and let's say Will Ospreay, two of his favorites going at it, and then you just hear him like, Laurier, like generally calling the moves and getting excited. Generally, for this match, I was doing a Slater because like Kelly comes into this ring and Ariel, and I'm like, this is going to be a shit show. Generally, Ariel starts punching the shit out of her. Like generally, these are literally. Do you know when you're booking an independent show where you can only get two rookies? You have to get two rookies. This is literally like two rookies. You went, just go out there and show them the lads that you can go, and then they just start beating the shit out of each other. Generally, they beat the shit out of each other. Like this match is not bad by any means. They just went, fuck it, we're gonna beat the shit out of each other.
And
they somehow worked.
yeah, no, it was decent back and forth, and they'd start building to a hot tag. And the whole build of this is Mike Knox doesn't like Kelly, preferring CM Punk to him. So Kelly goes to this hot tag. Mike Knox looks at her and walks the fuck away, and it's like, yes. After about 2 months of straight cucking, 2 months of cucking this motherfucker, he's finally snapped. He's finally had enough. The boos are fucking going through the crowd, and then yeah, Kevin Thorne and Ariel beat Mike Knox and Kelly, and they have a post-match beatdown, which is obviously interrupted by the Sandman. Who gets a decent reaction and batters. I assume he batters Kevin Thorne. I kind of checked out at this point.
He batters Kevin Thorne. He doesn't really batter Ariel. Even in 2006, though, we were like, okay, we shouldn't really have men batter women.
Yeah.
I think really the one that upsets me the most is just when Austin and Triple H beat the shit out of Lita. I'm like, oh, like it worked. It gets someone over as a mega heel. But if you're ever going to do it, you have to do it on a wrestler who can fight, who can then fight back. No offense to Lita, because if the build up is they're not going to fight back, you just watch the man beat the shit out of a woman. And obviously I know there's going to be fans going, that's like a Nyla Rose match. Ha ha ha. Fuck off. Just know someone would comment that. We don't get any comments. But yeah, this is generally just these four people going out there.
They're all battering each other in like 7 minutes 43. Decent length, built to the hot tag, got boos, it worked. Now we progress forward with a Kelly story. We progress forward with Mike Knox actually having some heat behind him. Like I said, it's the Freak Show match. It wasn't as bad as everybody says it is.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's finally make it to the Elimination Chamber, which went 24 minutes 42. And it starts off with CM Punk. It doesn't. It starts off with Hardcore Holly and RVD. Some genuinely decent spots with a chamber here. RVD kind of like jumping off the side and like getting thrown around. As said before, I mean, I suppose before we get to this, what do you make of this version of the Elimination Chamber?
I understand both sides of an argument for this, like because obviously this one looks more devilish, and people much prefer the one where it's like
mightily devilish, Seymour.
Ooh, but this one looks more like, you know, if this was an actual, like if you were in hell and this was an actual thing, you'd be shitting yourself. And I also do see the side of the newer one where people are like, it's a bit soft, and I'm like, I can understand both sides, because even if it's only once a year, I'd assume this fucks up your back for weeks. I'm gonna make the suggestion. I don't know. I haven't watched anyone from the Elimination Chamber talk about how this affects them, but I'd assume it fucks you up. So switching.
I mean, everybody kind of says that we fucking hate the chamber. It hurts like fuck.
Yeah. So I'm glad they switched it, but I can also see the side where it's like they shouldn't have switched it. It's like the Hell in a Cell debate, but the only difference I can say is that didn't need a change. Thankfully, Triple H reversed that, and I know Triple H probably, like I know they probably are fans clamoring to bring back the old chamber, but I'd say just leave it in the past. I understand it served its time, but everything must come to an end at some point, and that's what kind of happened. It just needed to come to an end.
I do miss this chamber at this point. I do think that it is I had to know this chamber did look more brutal, and I understand why they wanted to change this, but also it's a bit of a fucking nuisance that, like, you know, it doesn't, like, the new one doesn't look nearly as cool. It doesn't, Like this one looks fucking painful, and that's a part of the charm because it's this like chain fucking mess of destruction. You're like, oh, this is fucking great.
Yeah, I can.
But like the new one is very clean, very WWE. Like, that's not it for me.
I can understand, and I know that people will go, but you're only doing it once a year. But I can understand the fact, like, if you're a wrestler who suffers with back issues or neck issues, you do not want to be in this match. Well, I say that Daniel Bryan will be like, "Oh fuck, put me in, lads, put me in. My neck's fine." Brian, you literally broke it 3 years ago, lads. I'm fucking fine. But this is like I love this chamber, but I love both versions of the chamber. Personally, I think because I know they kind of got they don't like blood, but they do like blood for some scenes. Generally,
Yeah.
if I could bring one, if I can combine the two, I would bring blood back because you don't have to have blood for every Raw, every SmackDown. You just have it for these segments that need blood. And I think the Chamber is one of the exceptions, and Hell in a Cell is where you
Yeah.
need blood because it's all fun and games, like seeing them get to beat the shit out of each other. But seeing the blood, like only if it's for the Chamber and Hell in a Cell, I'll be fine. Ladder matches, I don't care. If it's just for the Chamber and Hell in a Cell, and for them segments on Raw and SmackDown, where someone gets the shit beat out of them, I don't mind. But generally, the
Yeah.
chamber needs blood because that's what makes it look so vicious. Because you look at the chamber and you just see Carlito beating out Charlie Haas. Does it look vicious? Yes. But you see Carlito piss blood out of his face. You go, holy shit, this is devilish.
This
Quite
is
relishing.
brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. I would combine the two personally. Like
Yeah.
a chamber can be brutal, but if you just
I just honestly the way you could do it, I would just bring back the grates on the outside. Honestly,
yeah, fair enough.
bring back the grates on the outside instead of the mats.
Or have the
The
match
mats
on
just
and
make it look incredibly sanitized and just not very like it's supposed to be fucking rough and painful. Obviously, you don't want it to hurt, but like, nah, I'm just not a fan of the new one. I'm sure it looks technically nicer, but nah. I just think I also think the match is tired as fuck and it needs a couple years out. Like the match has been done to death year after year after year. It's not even a special attraction anymore. It's too oversaturated in my opinion.
it's like the Hell in a Cell. Thankfully, the Hell in a Cell has took a break, and hopefully, it's only brought back for special occasions now. And hopefully,
Yeah.
that is something we see in the Triple H era because it feels weird having Vince McMahon, who's been at the helm since 1984, maybe 5, till 2022 when he was pushed out, but he secretly came back in and didn't leave till 2023 after like WrestleMania or something. He didn't leave till then. Um, it's very weird seeing Triple H's era compared to Vince because we're looking at 06 and Vince is just literally there's shit. Oh, hold on. I probably shouldn't have used shit for that analogy, but you get what I mean. Whereas Triple H is actually going, we're going from this point to this point to this point, so it is generally nice to see. But yeah, I prefer, but I don't mind either chambers.
Yeah, there's a lot better memories with the old chamber. So plus obviously the one match was what got me into wrestling properly, so I'm obviously gonna prefer that chamber because it was new and it was novel rather than the recent ones, which the last one I remember is like 2021, 2019, some shit like that. Like it's been
What
a
chamber?
while since I've
The Bray Wyatt chamber,
yes.
2017.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there we are. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go through the eliminations. So and obviously RVD and Punk are the favorites, so just keep that in mind. So Hardcore Holly and RVD started off. They have a lot of very decent back and forth. Go outside the ring, inside the ring. Like I still think Hardcore Holly's pretty underrated. I think he is actually genuinely quite interesting in the right situation. It's just 90% of the time he's not. But they have like a decent because you have to wait 5 minutes for them to all get in. So like each. So Punk comes out first. Decent back and forth. He chucks a chair into Hardcore Holly's face, and then RVD hits him as well. But in the end, Punk takes a 5-star frog splash from the top rope and gets eliminated first. I'm not saying that is a petty blow to Heyman, but it's absolutely a petty blow. Oh, you and this got to win, huh? straight some of that.
I mean, just very quickly on it, it's because WWE never saw Punk as a top guy. Like, I think it's quite literally how I believe the rumor is, where they wanted to fire Mark Henry for so long, so they just gave him shit, like shit storylines. And they went, "You gonna leave yet? Nah, I'm gonna stick out. Gonna leave yet? Nah." And then obviously he gets the Hall of Pain, and then the fake retirement gimmick.
Great run.
Great run. But with Punk, it's always everyone was going, "Vince, you need to take this guy. He's generally your next big star." And then how I like to imagine it is he had two pictures. He had one of John Cena, maybe with a bit of stains on it. Not gonna say where. And then he had a CM Punk picture. So obviously they'd go, "Vince, CM Punk could generally appeal to newer fans." John Cena does need a 13 title reign though. He does need the belt at 13th time. So it's just that, like, everyone was telling him Punk's the guy, but Vince was not listening. He preferred. Generally, if Darren Young looked at Vince the right way, he would have been a world champion over CM Punk. I could tell you that much. Because generally, Vince was always a guy who's like, "I don't mind you, Punk. I don't hate you. I just don't get you." It's that kind of thing. But he didn't get him, and then obviously, because you had Heyman here at the start being like, "Punk is the next guy to build ECW," and Vince like, "No, he's not. Bobby Lashley is." Then obviously years later they try to put the belt on him, it fails, and then Vince like, "It's not gonna work." And then Money in the Bank, like that night he got to the pipe bomb, everything changes except for Vince in Vince's head, but everything does change, thankfully.
Yeah, it's one thing that you can enjoy, but also, yeah, it ain't good. It ain't fucking good. But yeah, so then Hardcore Holly gets eliminated next after Test gives him a fucking gnarly big boot. It's like a test. Big Show and Test are helping on Hardcore Holly, and then Test goes to hit RVD with a big boot, but hits Hardcore Holly instead. Just chooses to go hit him first, pins him pretty soon after. It was genuinely like 10 seconds after Punk was pinned. I'm pretty sure. Like, and then finally, then it is Test and RVD back and forth, and it all kind of goes awry as RVD goes to hit a frog splash off the top rope, but Big Show grabs his fucking leg through the grate. Test hits him with a chair, throws him off, then climbs to the top himself and fucking hits an absolutely monstrous diving elbow drop from the top of the fucking Elimination Chamber pod onto a ladder. That's a lot of fucking man right there. Like, that's a lot of meat coming down. It looked fucking brutal. So, full credit, they did, at least if they were going to eliminate RVD, they fucking made it work. Like, they worked for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll obviously talk about it after we get the main event, the last three. And obviously I can see where the fan uproar is. But
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake," because now you're left with Test. Now you're left with Test, Bobby Lashley, and the Big Show.
And generally, I'll just switch to the two of us before. Like, I'm generally going to say this is probably the right call. And I know that people are going to go, "Punk's right there." Punk is a great guy. But all they've done with him, from what fucking, there's hair on me.
I don't.
He was not the right guy yet. I think that when he got the belt, it was the wrong time. Obviously, the right time for me would have obviously been Vengeance Day. If Benoit showed up, having him beat Benoit would have been like, "Holy shit, he's the guy." Then obviously we all know what happens there. And Johnny Nitro.
Did he ever actually win the ECW title?
I believe he wins it from either Johnny Nitro, and then I think it goes Punk, Chavo, Punk. I want to say, I might be. It either goes Nitro, Chavo, Punk, or Nitro, Punk, Chavo.
Unsurprisingly, I don't actually keep track of the ECW title lineage.
And then it goes to, obviously, from Chavo, it goes to Kane, then I think to Mark Henry, then I think to Tommy Dreamer, then the Christian, and then to Ezekiel Jackson. And Matt Hardy's in there somewhere, from what I remember.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's odd. He does win the belt eventually.
But yeah, I do definitely agree. CM Punk isn't the guy yet. He's got the workings of it. Like I said, he's a good finisher away from being there, but he still hasn't got that good finisher yet that people get excited for. And his character is still very, very limited.
Obviously, people are going to go that there is no way that could happen, especially considering Punk's like 44 now. But if he was ever in a chamber match again, because Brock Lesnar did an F5 off the chamber, I need to see. Well, he kind of did. I believe he somewhat did like an F5 off the top of the pod for Austin Theory. For Austin Theory, he threw him off the pod, an F5 from what I remember.
Yeah, but how's the GTS working though? He's just gonna get hit
No.
in the face and then falling off.
No, I didn't say a GTS.
Oh, the plunge.
He's on top of the pod, and I don't know how realistically it would work, but he does the plunge. It would not work, but I would love to see him do it just for one time. I need the plunge in WWE at least once. Triple H is backstage. He's not using the pedigree, but
no,
yeah, Punk is not the right guy yet. Now, I don't know if we know Heyman's plans, what they would have been for ECW, because I don't think he ever talks about
Punk.
it. Well, we know it's Punk, but we don't know what like.
Yeah, but it's going back into that shoot fight style, right? That UFC type. Fighting is real. We are competitors. MMA, like Turkai here, Elijah Burke, like not golden gloves, but like fighter, like a lot of these more grapply kind of guys, which also benefits the kind of sluggish nature of sluggish in terms of like slugging rather than like just like fucking slow. That nature, like the Balls, the Sandman, these sorts of wrestlers who probably are brawlers at the core and shouldn't really be anything else. They're not good enough. I feel like that was the play. But yeah, let's get through it and then we can talk about all the behind the scenes stuff. Nice back and forth with Test and Lashley. Honestly, it was decent, like 5-minute segment of them going back and forth. Test has the crowbar, beats fuck out of everyone. But in the end, Lashley gets him with a spear. Very brutal, very nice, and that leaves just Bobby Lashley and the Big Show left. Oh yeah, also the spot where Lashley has to break out of the chamber pod by using the table to break the chains. That is pretty sound. Pretty sound.
I want to see it redone. I don't know how it'll be redone, but I want to see someone do it now.
It doesn't really work now. It only works with a chain link. But yeah, no, it was a decent little spot. Climbs out, beats Test, and then Big Show comes out with the baseball bat, the barbed wire bat. It's just a big meaty men slapping meat kind of 5-minute segment. Like Big Show gets put through fucking everything. Like, but Lashley just chucks all the shit at his like pod as well. It's pretty terrifying. And so like Lashley spears him through the pod. He goes out the other side, breaks the door, and in the end, Lashley he does my favorite thing with a spear, where you do the fucking he didn't do the crisscross, but he did the extra fucking run up. He did the Roman Reigns on the Undertaker, where it's like 1, 2, 3 spear, and it's like oh, fucking delicious. And there you have Bobby Lashley picking up the ECW title, finally dethroning the Big Show, who has held the belt for like 20 weeks ish, roughly.
From like the 3rd or 4th week of June all the way to the 1st week of December.
So it's a decently long title run.
Like my thoughts on this match is it's good personally, but if you wanted to keep I don't know, because from what I heard, the original. I'm just going to talk about WrestleMania 23 very quickly. The original plan for WrestleMania 23 was not to have Bobby Lashley obviously be there. This is going to sound mental, but since it was Mania 23, the original plan was for Big Show be in Vince McMahon's corner, and can you guess who was going to be in Trump's corner? Like literally,
No.
he wrestled at SummerSlam and stunk the show out. Because think of it, WrestleMania 3 had that iconic match. 20 years later,
I don't remember Hogan.
So the original plan was going to be Trump was going to have Hogan, because obviously Hogan wrestled at the Trump Plaza and everything. Then obviously Vince McMahon was going to have Big Show. So you get the iconic he slams Big Show 20 years after, obviously Andre. But obviously
he's not hitting that in 2006
7
or whenever Mania 23 is.
So obviously that doesn't happen because Big Show fucks off. In kayfabe, I believe he just gets battered by Bobby Lashley and leaves. In reality, they went, mate, you need to lose some weight or you're gonna fucking die.
I mean, apparently it didn't happen. What I read is Big Show was offered a genuine long-term contract extension for about $1 million a year, and he went, "Nah, I'm burned out. I'm hurt.
Not fair enough.
I need a break."
Fair enough. And then he comes back, obviously, in February 2008.
Yeah, apparently he announced his retirement from wrestling. Like, that's how fucking done he was. And if you're declining $1 million, like, fucking hell. Obviously, he's been on big money since WCW, but
Fuck me. Imagine the reality if we don't get Big Show stinging out the joint in the mid 2010s. Oh, it'd be a beautiful sight to behold.
yeah, and then he has that one good chairs match. Like, oh, fucking fair play. Oh, he's back.
But
He's not.
like,
But yeah, so Bobby Lashley, just to kind of wrap round and we'll get to the aftermath, because I've got a decent chunk to read about the aftermath. So Bobby Lashley wins the belt off the Big Show. Big Show putting in a decent stint. The start of his run was so much more interesting than the end of his run, because at the start he was embracing ECW. He was becoming hardcore to defend the belt against these genuine wrestlers, these genuine like Taker, Kane, Batista, a lot of these actual Ric Flair, these proper fucking wrestlers to try and defend ECW from these outsiders. But then they got Heyman involved, and then I guess Big Show went, "I'm not defending this shit each week. Fuck off. I'm tired. I'm hurt. Leave me the fuck alone." So now been dethroned. Still a roguish pick. Bobby Lashley has only been on ECW for about 3 weeks. He's not an ECW guy, and it is. But yeah, so yeah, and obviously Punk was the favourite, and RVD was also in there for a fucking chance. And the fact that Sabu got ruled out for reasons, like we don't really know why. But yeah, less than 24 hours after the pay-per-view, WWE announced on their official website that Vince McMahon had sent Paul Heyman home, citing slumping television ratings and a disgruntled talent roster as cause for Mr. Heyman's dismissal. That's the reason, right? Not Vince fucking booking a shit show for 6 months. It's your fault nobody likes ECW. Vince, if you let me have Kurt Angle and we would have actually fucking had him be a main star. Kurt didn't want to be here. It's your fault. It's like, well, it's not though, is it? But like, it's your fault for it being bad. It's definitely not. Like, I guarantee Heyman was doing his fucking best to try and get ECW to be ECW.
I mean, isn't there a backstage like when Heyman took over creative in 2019? I want to say he just kept butting heads with Vince again, didn't he?
Yes.
Like he was trying to build like Seth Rollins and have his disciples with Buddy Murphy. I'm not saying Paul Heyman's the best worker. There's probably better out there, but he's definitely up
definitely
there.
not. But he has a style.
He has a style, and he's unique to it. Unlike Russo, where Russo is Crash TV, so it's very different seeing like Heyman being blamed for everything, because imagine you make a gift for someone, right? Someone you love, you make a gift, and then they buy you a gift that you've wanted for years. They go, "We're going to give you this gift, and you're going to love it." Just say it's a plant. They give you this plant. It's like, okay, we want you to love this plant, and then they come in, throw vodka on it every day, every week for the next 6 months, and then it's like it's your fault it died.
I think a better description is like, it's like, all right, we're buying you your first car. No one else is going to use it but you. And then, like 2 days in, Vince gives you a call like, yeah, I've crashed the car, but it's probably best if we say that it's on your insurance because I'm not insured on this car. So, if you just take the rap, everything will be fine. And then he does it again like 2 weeks later, and you're like, dude, what the fuck do you want me to do about it? Like, you mangled this fucking car. I can't. Like,
it's obviously been stated from years. Like, if you ask any ex-WWE employee from like the mid 2010s, they go, it was fucking rough. Like, obviously we know Vince had a yes man, and obviously they're not gonna say no. So Vince could be literally like, wouldn't it be funny if you had Dean Ambrose come out in a dog costume and he gets his stupid balls bitten by a bunch of dogs? And obviously you think someone's gonna go, Vince, that wouldn't really build Dean Ambrose. No, of course everyone's gonna go, yeah, Vince, that's fucking great. geez, that's the best idea you ever had, Vince. Vince had no one saying no, because whoever said no, they'd be fired, or, well, they'd be expelled. Let's just say expelled. And basically, that was the problem. And the problem you have is Heyman's genuinely trying to build a show. Like, I'm not saying that he's not. He's genuinely trying. He is literally shoving the information you need to read in your face, saying, read this information before you go out there. And obviously Finch is that guy going, don't need it, fuck off, I don't need it. But it's genuinely, Finch, you need this. If you give it to me, I can do it for you. And then he obviously gets blamed for the whole thing. But it's not Heyman's fault. I 100% think it's never Heyman's fault. Unless somehow something comes out where Heyman, like, was not pitching ideas to Finn. But I think if you're trying to talk to a wall that's not going to listen, you might as well give up and just go, you're right, I'm wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I give up. This is supposed to be my project. I'll fucking leave. If you want to do it your way so badly, you can fucking do it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm reading more. Heyman was escorted from the Coliseum and sent home. He was also immediately pulled from the ECW creative team after the altercation. McMahon was attempting to put the blame on Heyman for poorly received pay-per-view, despite Heyman having been overruled on multiple booking decisions. So yeah, obviously the Punk was supposed to win. And what else is probably overruled? I don't know what else would actually be overruled on this card. Probably Dreamer versus Davari. That was probably overruled. Dreamer's not beating him. Did it? After meeting with Vince and Stephanie, Heyman legitimately left WWE but remained under contract. Classic Heyman. Still give me the money, but fuck you, I'm not showing up. Heyman was against the decision of Lashley being booked to win the ECW World Championship, instead wanting to have CM Punk win it, decision McMahon disliked, and obviously referencing this was then like Punk's fuel, like, you never actually wanted me, did you? Blah, blah, blah. Heyman saw something in Punk no one else wanted to admit. Nice little callback. Upset how the event turned out, Tommy Dreamer and Stevie Richards both asked after the event to be released from their contracts. Both requests were refused by McMahon and WWE. So yeah. This was then, obviously this wasn't necessarily the issue. Like, I still think there would have been more ECW, but like they did just stop doing the brand exclusive pay-per-views. So at the end of the day, it was the wrong timing. They stopped doing the exclusives. They realized it's probably not the best way to make money. Why don't we just do like 12 as opposed to like fucking 21 or whatever the fuck? Like, you don't need to have the calendar so much that people are picking and choosing which shows to go to. Like, there's 3 shows in about a month at this time. You have Survivor Series, then you have this show, then you have Armageddon. Like, if I'm buying shit around Christmas, I'm not paying for fucking ECW. Like, I'll buy one and that's it. That's what we got. So yeah, it's and I really did enjoy the show. This show actually went by very quickly, in my opinion. It was 2 hours 20. It went all pretty smooth, other than the Tommy Dreamer match, which was shit. But the rest of it all served its purpose. Obviously, in comparison to the previous ECW pay-per-views, it's fucking shit. The card is weak as fuck. It's built with nobodies and people that no one cares about. And that's fine. But at least it was ECW actually putting on a genuinely ECW brand of show. Where, you had all the wrestlers who have been on the TV show. You have all the wrestlers who have been wrestling so far. Like, yeah, sure. And I see that people will say it's absolutely hot garbage, and it's not great. But for it to be viewed as one of the worst shows ever, I guess at the time in stacked WWE, where they're trying to put on these really good shows, but like, I think the cult of personality is there for Raw, it's there for SmackDown, but for ECW, it's not even had the chance to swim yet, and you're already fucking pulling it under. Like, this is doomed to fail.
It's so mental to think, like it's very weird, because I feel bad for Heyman in a way. Like, he was promised his own show to do what he's want, and then Vince comes in and goes, don't like what you've written down, Heyman, because you don't mention that I've a great cock and I'm a great human being. You don't mention that at all. So obviously I'm going to rewrite it, and you're going to include that I'm the greatest. I'm the best booker here. And obviously I understand people prefer McMahon's booking. I understand that completely. You can like McMahon's booking. I'd say don't like his fucking end of run booking, except for he's the reason why Cody lost at Mania 39, because he went, it'd be great if he won a year later. So the last great contribution Vince McMahon has to wrestling is the fact Cody Rhodes won a year later. Some could see that as a negative, but I see that as a positive, because even in senile
I mean, it
old
had
age,
so much more build to it.
yeah, even in senile old age, he knew when the right time was to pull the trigger. Just glad they can't factor out the Rock bit.
Twice out of 98 times.
Yeah, twice out of 98 times. But it's weird because I like McMahon's booking, but I don't like how he structures it. Does that make sense? I don't kind of like how he presents it, because it's either, oh, I find it funny, so fuck it, or I like it. I don't care if the fans don't like it. It's like wrestling is supposed to have 50-50. The booker's supposed to like it, but the fans are supposed to like it. If the fans don't like it, why should they watch? Why should they invest?
Exactly.
Why should they put their hard-earned money down to go and see these shows, to go support the wrestlers, to buy the merchandise, to buy the figures, to buy the games? Why should they invest if you're going, well, actually, you want CM Punk? That's what you get. Fuck you. I don't care. Like, you're generally throwing a tantrum like a teenager and being like, I don't care what you think. Is it no wonder fans for so many years became lapsed of WWE and were thriving for an alternative? And yes, I know what people will say now, the alternative is not good. I don't care, because we're rid of the McMahon era. But generally, you are giving TNA literally the perfect opportunity to go, look, we are providing an alternative that WWE will not give you, because no matter what,
We respect the wrestlers you like.
yeah, exactly. Because no matter what, you're going to be stuck in a room with Vince McMahon, who's stubborn as hell. He is literally like your grandmother, where like, do you want to go for a walk? Nah. Do you want to watch a movie? Nah. Do you want to play a game? Nah. What do you want to do? I want to sit here in silence while you look at me in the eyes and realize I'm going to die in 5 years. And it's like, Jesus Christ, man. But he's literally, you're banging your head against the wall booking with Vince at this time and any time, because no matter what, you're gonna lose. You're in the wrong.
It's like me deciding. It would be like if you were doing a show where you were booking AEW to be a bit different, and I suddenly went, I'm not a fan of AEW, but I'm gonna take over. It's gonna be my vision. It's like, yeah, but you're not an AEW fan. You don't really like any of the wrestlers. Yeah, well, my opinion's better than yours. How long have you been watching wrestling for? I'm watching wrestling for more years than you, so I know better about the topic that I know nothing about. Like, it's just like, what's the fucking point?
Like, because obviously we've seen it throughout years, because obviously WWE didn't want Punk, they didn't want Bryan, they didn't want all these little guys, that Triple H and many others seen opportunities in. Vince still in 2015 wanted big ripply men, big tussles in the colossal, fucking big 5 fields, and it's like, Vince, we're no longer in that era. Even at this time, it's very weird to see that we're slowly kind of changing how wrestling will be in the next 10 years. Because obviously, this is not the normal in 2016. In 2016, you've Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn and Bobby Roode fighting Samoa Joe. So it's very weird seeing this time period where literally the top guys are John Cena and Batista, and you might get a feud with them. And if you don't, you'll be in the lower card division. And it's
But even
singles.
if you do get it, you're not gonna win.
Yeah, you're not going to win.
So, Ken Anderson loses. He technically beats Undertaker, but is never getting his win back. Like, MVP, wrestling Kane till oblivion, and it's shit. Umaga squashed. Like, all these guys who have been brought up at the time weren't ever pushed over these supposed like mega stars. But yeah, I think as a whole, I really enjoyed the show. It's probably the easiest show we've sat through this year, in my opinion. Like, genuinely, like, Survivor Series was good. This was easy to get through. The only match I checked out on was fucking Davari Tommy Dreamer. But for what it was, I felt like it stood out on its own. It's just fundamentally, it's also getting fucking sabotaged because it's like, oh, you want all these ECW guys? Well, get FBI out there. Yep. Okay, sound like you could have made such a sexier card. You could have had fucking Sandman versus someone. You could have had Sabu in the chamber doing Sabu shit in the chamber, but you didn't. And like, there's so many calls that you should have made that were never made because Vince isn't a fucking fan of ECW.
The only way I can like put this forward is it's like because people have conspiracies about who killed WCW, but what killed WCW was giving talent contracts to say you don't go over. You have a clause that can say this wrestler can't go over you. You can pull a tantrum and say this wrestler can't go over you, etc. The reason why WWE never failed on that is because Finn's like like say you're doing Saturday Night's Main Event and you book the shittest card possible. The shit, like, I genuinely mean, think of 2006 jobbers in WWE. Think of them and you put them all over the card. Generally, CBS or whatever the station was would generally go, that's WWE, I want that, give me that. That's why WWE worked. They could book the shittest shows and you'd watch. WCW failed because TVS went, or Ted Turner was the only guy backing WCW. So when it failed, everyone went, Ted Turner, you're a bit of an idiot. And obviously Ted Turner went, well, you guys didn't believe in it like I did. It's going to have a rough year, you didn't believe in it. But generally, the only reason WWE has not followed that is because they're a big organisation. They are generally the big boys. They're the big bully in a massive pool, and anyone that comes near it either gets punched or they're allowed in, but they have to sit like far away from them. They're allowed in, but they have to kind of social distance. And I feel like that's the problem with WWE at this time, and generally, just in general, is you want to build ECW, but you don't want to pull the trigger, and the trigger can't be pulled until you decide what you want to do with this talent. But you can't decide what you want to do with the talent because you don't watch the original ECW. I don't even know. I didn't even watch the original ECW, and I know half these guys should be built up like it's the original ECW. I'm not saying have hardcore matches 24/7 out the wazoo. I'm just saying maybe what you could have done is give the ECW fans a year of ECW where you get all the fucking old lads. You get Raven, you get Dreamer, you get fucking Nunzio, you get fucking Balls Mahoney, you get Sandman, you get all these lads. And sure, you can play them out with their TNA contract. I don't think TNA will give a shit. You bring all these lads in, you bring them in, you go, alright, we're going to put you in the main event, but in the background, we're going to build Punk, we're going to build Elijah Burke, we're going to build Test, we're going to build Hardcore Holly, we're going to build these guys, and generally it will work. But no, what they did was, I don't like DCW, so Punk, get out here. That's what failed it.
It's you're cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Vince doesn't like ECW and therefore was never going to put on a show that allowed ECW to thrive. Because I guarantee Vince didn't fucking watch ECW. Vince didn't fucking care about ECW. He was too busy doing fucking WWE during the Attitude Era, the peak wrestling for most people.
Exactly. And
so, it was never going to be allowed to succeed. And I feel like the show was decent enough in spite of how little it was actually allowed to have any identity. Exactly. It's the equivalent of like going to like a fucking suited and booted show, but going in like a jumper and some work trousers. It's like, well, what the fuck are you even doing here? Like, you're doing nothing of any intrigue. You're not getting any eyes on you. It's just nothing interesting about you. You just look like generic fucking shit.
Yeah, and that's why I think this pay-per-view failed. Because you're not giving NXT won because you did build the star power, but had all these guys from the main roster come down to NXT and go, NXT is the best. Personally, I would put my kids on NXT. You had all these wrestlers bigging up NXT. ECW barely gets a mention from what I know, barely gets a mention on Raw and SmackDown. And that's not how it should work. Because on ECW, the general going, check out SmackDown, check out Raw, check out fucking Velocity and Heat. And they're not doing the same for ECW. Why? Because Vince only wanted the money. He did not care about anything here. They did not want to listen, and I think that's the reason why this pay-per-view failed. It's an alright pay-per-view. It's been exaggerated that it's the worst pay-per-view of the year. It is not. It is generally not the worst pay-per-view. If you go in with the context that generally Heyman was going to make this 10 times better, but Vince went, no, you're not. I'm the boss. Then you will know. If you watch the last 3 weeks of ECW going into December to December, you might enjoy this a bit more. You might appreciate it. I'm not saying it's the greatest card ever. I'm not saying it's fucking WrestleMania 55. I'm saying generally, if you give it a chance, it could be good. But people don't want to give it a chance. They just go, oh, Cultaholic said it's the worst pay-per-view ever. Well, I'm going to do a video on that saying it's the worst pay-per-view ever. And then that guy's going to copy me, and then we're going to circle around in circles. Just let it have a chance. That's all I ask. I don't care if our YouTube careers fail. I want to be remembered as someone who actually gave ECW December to Dismember chance.
And ECW in general.
And ECW in general. Because ECW, yes, we complain that they're shit, but genuinely, it's been fun.
It's not the most consistently interesting show. It's fallen short of having the same fucking matches and the same structure. But there are still some good points about the show. It's a fucking 45-minute show. Fucking flies by. Decent structure to it. A match, a segment, another match, a segment, and then the main event. It's a decent structure, but yeah, fundamentally. Yeah, it's just if you watch this without any of the build and you just look at the names and you're not invested, you're like, oh, fuck, is this garbage? But even with just the slight bit of build, I know that we've watched all of it. It was actually quite a strong show, and I know that this doesn't happen. But if you're watching this as a WWE ECW fan, the very few of you there were, I mean, this show got 95,000 buys. In the first year, the first ever show. Like, people always mock like fucking TNA numbers. TNA are barely averaging 1,500 buys in this current point in time. Like, fucking, that's a good fucking result. You had just below 5,000 people there, motherfuckers. Like, what fucking failed to you? It's like, all right, your first video, you have to hit 1 million. It's like, well, no one fucking knows I exist. No one even knows who the fuck I am. There's no chance to fucking show what I'm about. 1 million views. Fucking hell. I guess I'll try then. Like, what would have made it a success? You're not gonna get fucking 200k pay-per-view buys. I doubt you're even getting that for fucking current. Like, you're not even getting that for shows at the time.
No.
Like, what was the previous? I mean, obviously, Survivor Series is probably a bit of a outlier. But let's first. I'll take a look at Survivor Series. Survivor Series had 383,000. Obviously, it's a outlier because Survivor Series is one of the big four. But Armageddon, where is Armageddon? Armageddon still did pretty well, I can't lie. Armageddon had 239,000 buys, which, fair enough. But, like, lads, WWE's been on top for, like, fucking... When did it swap over to WF? Or when did it actually become Vince's baby?
WF started in 84 or 85. It was originally WWF, and then Vince bought it from Vince Senior, and basically killed the territories, built the company from the ground up. Yes, there was some muddy times for the new generation. Then he had the Attitude Era with Vince Russo as Booker, and then obviously they had a row with WWF, which is the Panda company over here,
But also, I will say, are we also just trusting these fucking numbers? Like WWE, they inflate fucking everything.
But yeah,
literally all the numbers.
Yeah,
like Armageddon, like even take Survivor Series from Armageddon. Survivor Series 383. Okay, Armageddon down 150,000 buys. Like, it's not the fucking that big a deal. New Year's Revolution down 1,900 buys. Like, it's still obviously the Rumble's an outlier because that's going to be like 525 like 525,000. But like, what show in its initial year? It's like All In, or All Out, whatever the first AEW big show was. That's why it was such a fucking outlier, because it succeeded despite everything.
All In, like All In 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. All In started as a joke because one fan tweeted Dave Meltzer, quote the elite sellout.
And even then, that sold 50,000 fucking. That sold 50,000.
Yeah, and
December to Dismember sold more fucking copies than All In. Like, and that's not a hit to All In. It's a fucking great accomplishment to sell that many on your first fucking show. Like, but fucking man alive, like, what the fuck do you want? Like I said, it's the first year, it grows. What was All In fucking buy rate is still 175,000 to 200,000. Like I said, buy rates are different now in the streaming era, but still, December to Dismember, it's still not looking too bad in comparison.
yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
That's not the point to slate AEW, but it's
No.
just the point of this is your first fucking pay-per-view. Like,
obviously, just on the topic of that very quickly, is people who complain about buy rates and everything. I'm like, people have to realize when you're a small company. I know AEW is technically not a small company; they're owned by a billionaire. But in hindsight, compared to WWE, who are a shark, they have to swim their own way. And just on that, yes, Tony Khan is a fucking. Like, you can have your criticisms for Tony. We're not getting into that, but they're still a small company trying their best in comparison. Yeah. Vince had roughly 40 years to build his company. 40 odd years. Tony is only in his 5th year. Like, and I know people are going to go, but there's a big comparison. Tony's in his 5th year and he's on TNT. Like, I'm not saying like suck his cock and everything. I'm just saying in your 5th year and you're still on TNT. Yes, you're pulling in low ratings, but you're generally going to get that fan base who are going to watch you, and that's where I'm comparing it to ECW, where there is going to be fans watching ECW. But I actually invest in ECW the same way I still AEW come on the shittest show ever. Will I watch it? Maybe. Will I watch a segment from it? I might watch a segment from it. If you generally have a fan who believes in you and knows it might succeed, then that goes a long way. Yes, I know there's money that's more important. There's fucking backstage that's more important and everything. But generally, if your fan base believe in you and want you to succeed, then you will succeed. But if everyone is begging you to fail, you're gonna fail. That's why people like Joe Hendry get over so much. It's because he is literally saying, if you believe in me, I am the greatest wrestler. And people believe in him. And that's why he's working so well. He has a fan base who believes in him. Could you think, would he be as over if no one believed in him? If he was just, right, he came out with this song, no one believed in him, and they just thought he was a flash in the pan. No, he's generally getting booked everywhere he goes. He believes in himself. He's been working for 10 odd years to build himself up to get to this point in TNA, and he's not, well, it's not main eventing, but he's now getting booked in NXT. He's now getting booked all over around the world. Like, generally, it's just, if you believe in this product and you want it to succeed, invest in it. Buy the pay-per-view, buy the merchandise, buy anything you can. Hell, even if it's an ECW mug, buy what you can and support it. Because that's all you can do for wrestling, is support these companies. Yes, I don't care that AEW is a multi-billionaire company, but if you generally are a fan of the company, buy their product, help them out. Because you, in 10 years, can go, I helped this company grow. I helped this company start off small and then they're a bit bigger. It's just, you have to invest with them. If you don't, and you just laugh along at them, like all them Twitter trolls are like, AEW viewership, we're down 55%, failing company, then you're doomed to watch it fail, and you're gonna complain then when WWE suck that there's no alternative, when you could watch the alternative and actually supported the alternative, but you chose to sit there on your high horse and go, well, actually, no, I don't like the alternative. You don't have to like the alternative, but there has to be levels. Like, you have to support anything you can in wrestling, because wrestling can show that anyone can take it away at any instant, no matter what you like. So look at Ted Turner's WCW. That was taken away in an instant and was bought by Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon paid more for sex workers than he did for WCW. He gave away more money to fans, than he did to WCW. Let that sink in for people who generally go, Vince cared about WCW. Generally, let that sink in. He paid more. He probably paid more to get Batista in a film than he did for WCW. Genuinely. He does not, like, that's why you do not let these people buy off every promotion and fucking sell the library. You generally need to invest in all these promotions.
Yeah, competition makes things better. And I suppose just to wrap it back round to the point, well, One Night Stand, the first one in 05, that got 3,250 thousand buys, 325,000 buys, which is a fucking big number. And that's overselling fucking Armageddon. That's overselling fucking One Night New Year's Revolution. It's, and that's an outlier. That is a complete fucking outlier. Bring about ECW, what, like 4 years after its closing. You've not really seen any of these guys since. Some of them were still in WWE. Most of them were gone. So, all right, that's the outlier. Then you do 06, 304,000 buys. Still very good. But the main problem is this is established before the first year of ECW. Like, you're now look at most of the card. Are any of these wrestlers gonna be wrestling in ECW for the foreseeable? You have Taz versus Jerry Lawler. No. You have Kurt Angle, Randy Orton. Kurt Angle leaves. You have the FBI. Big Guido leaves. Tajiri doesn't stay. Super Crazy doesn't stay. Rey Mysterio, Sabu. Sabu stays. Sound. Edge, McFoley, and Lita versus Terry Funk, Dreamer, and Beulah. Tommy Dreamer is the only one that stays. Balls Mahoney, Masato Tanaka. Balls stays. And then you have RVD, John Cena. RVD is the only one who stayed. So now you have scraps. You have fucking scraps of these two cards pieced together, now forced to fit into a WWE style product in order to try and succeed in its first year, to try and sell. I don't even know what would have been a success for WWE. Like, did they really expect 200,000 pay-per-view buys off of this card that wasn't announced beforehand?
The only other problem you run into is this is literally a week after Survivor Series. So say you're on the dole. The dole is basically the government's money. The government give you a set amount of money, like let's say €300. That's to buy your shopping, your clothes, you pay your bills. So say you only have a few quid left. You could buy a McDonald's, or you could buy a WWE pay-per-view, let's say. I know a McDonald's not going to cost 40 quid. Would you invest in WWE ECW, who Vince has literally scrubbed the identity of, placed it slap bang in the middle after Survivor Series? You've just bought Survivor Series. Are you going to pay for December to Dismember, or are you going to wait till Armageddon? And Armageddon might be shit. Generally, if Armageddon was gone and ECW was in the place of Armageddon, it might have succeeded. But the problem you ran into is that you didn't want it to succeed. You deliberately knew it was going to fail, and you let it fail. Blamed the guy who originally second owned the company. And you blamed him for no reason, all because your ego was too big for yourself, and you blamed him, and you went, it's your fault. And then you put yourself as ECW champion 4 months later, just so you could pop a buy rate or pop a rating. Like generally, does no one realize how? When I'm describing what happens in the next few months, it's not going to be good for ECW. I understand that. Generally, if you guys like it, watch it with us. Generally, 5 of you who are here who still support us, I appreciate you. Don't think we don't. We absolutely do appreciate you. Yes, we care more about the Watching Walford channel, but that's because Watching Walford is our main priority. This is our sister channel. This is where we can take fun. If you genuinely believe in us and want us to succeed, all we ask is you listen to these reviews. You listen to us shitting on Randy Orton because he wears shit trunks. You can just listen to all our rants. You don't have to watch the full videos. You can watch about 5-10 minutes. If you genuinely want to see us progress through ECW till we get to the 09, the 010, the 08, then stay with us. But if you generally want to hop in and just want to see the Vince saga or Vince's ECW champion, stay with us. We'll get there. Well, hell, we have to cover McMahon versus Trump. I'm not looking forward to that, but I don't mind covering it. Generally, just stay with us, and that's all I appreciate. If you stay with us, we will reward you by reviewing all these shows. Yes, some of them might be short, 20 minutes, some of them might be an hour. But if you generally stay with us and invest with us, then you might actually come to appreciate WWE ECW. Because everyone looks at ECW as a laughing stock. And I think that's underappreciated. I think that's wrong. It was a thing that was set up to fail. Because it's, again, let's just take NXT. It's like if Vince McMahon said, alright, Triple H, you can book NXT. So Triple H brings in Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, all these independent guys. And then Vince goes, actually, you know who I really want to see on that show? Braun Strowman. It's like, Vince, I brought all these non-WWE guys in. It's like, yeah, but I want Braun Strowman. Basically what he did to NXT in 2021 when they were losing in the war to AEW, and then Vince went, I need to book it, and he revamped NXT. But then some people say he changed it for the better, some people say he changed it for the worse. It's like that. You can't forcefully change a product. You need to slowly graduate and change it. You can't just, 1 week we can't walk up and we're suddenly happy and gay, fucking singing songs. Like that would be weird. We're just two lads talking nonsense. So you need people to invest, and then they will appreciate when you change, when you start doing something different. ECW fans won't. We know them. They're pricks. But they might stay. But you've destined it to fail. And that's where I think we leave it there.
I've just got a fucking video of a guy punches got a knob. Sorry, I got to the end of this really passionate fucking speech, and I fully respect it. It's stay tuned, because as much as everybody will like to say that this stage in ECW is fucking awful and it's terrible, and yes, most weeks we will echo that sentiment. But for shows that are genuinely good, we are appreciative of it. We do actually take it seriously. This has probably been one of my favorite shows of this time period, probably my favorite WWE pay-per-view of the year, and it may just be the underdog feel, but I think with what they had to work with, they absolutely knocked it out the fucking park. It's just, in a better scenario, Paul Heyman's not booking fucking Kevin Thorne and Ariel versus Kelly Kelly and Mike Knox. Like, obviously he's booking fucking Kurt Angle, CM Punk or some shit, like, in a better world, none of this happens. But since this is the world we got, we have to deal with it and appreciate it for what it is.
I just want to end this off by saying, you can look at this channel as kind of appreciating what internet has, quote, the worst moment it would be. So like the Nexus. I know people say it's good and then it's bad. But we're generally going to try and bring a light to the Nexus. We're going to complain, obviously. The Raws are shit, but we're going to generally try and see the best in the Nexus. 2007 is a weird year for obvious reasons. But we're generally going to try and see the best in the year 2007. I know we say that we have Armageddon, but still, we are going to try and see the best in 2007, despite the whole Benoit tragedy and nearly killing the wrestling industry. Because he nearly did that, let's be honest. So I generally want you to stay
and the steroid scandal.
Yeah, and the steroid scandal, but obviously killing a white child and then blaming CTE is going to obviously make people go, don't really want to watch wrestling now. Thanks, Benoit. But if you generally stay with us and actually go, actually 2007 might be a decent year. Yeah, 2007 might be a slog, but there's generally some good stuff in 2007, like the Shawn Michaels John Cena match in London or in the UK. The John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Batista, Undertaker tag match at No Way Out. I'm trying to think of more. The Shawn Michaels Randy Orton Survivor Series match, I believe it's Survivor Series, where Shawn Michaels actually goes, Benoit's dead, crossface. There's generally good in 07. There's also shit. Again, like Trump McMahon. People can say that whether we mean the politics or not, but they'll let you decide. So generally, just stay with us, and we will try and bring the best out of you, because that's all we want to do. We're not here for money. We're not here for clicks. Generally, 5 people watch us, we're happy. If 10 people watch us, we're happy. Would we like more? Sure. But again, we are only here to bring you the fact. We're reviewing shit times in wrestling, so you can kind of appreciate the worst times in wrestling with us, like this ECW and the Nexus. in Game Show NXT and maybe WCW 2000, but you're pushing it there, pal. So generally, that's all I have
Well,
to say.
it's about reviewing the more underrated aspects and actually appreciating it for what it is,
Yeah.
rather than deciding that it's absolute fucking scum and should never have existed.
Exactly, because even in an unpolished third, there is a fiver, but still, if you just stay tuned, we will try and help you through this. It's going to be a rough few years, sure, but generally, I want to complete ECW. If I'm only known as the guy I'm watching all who says silly things, and I'm known here as the guy who helps you realize that ECW is actually an alright job, that's all I care about. Yes, there's going to be Braden Walker. Yes, there's going to be Matt Hardy as ECW champion. There's going to be Vince McMahon as ECW champion. It's all shit, but we will help you. And that's all I want. That's all I want. I know I'm saying health like you're fucking a disease, but still, it's about appreciating the shit in a shit time. Like, and that's all I have to say. I think that's all Ash has to say. Unless you have something to round off.
No, it's the simple fact of some people like good wrestling, some people like bad wrestling. We are in the business of appreciating things for what they were, even if, and you can take off the goggles. I love that fucking, this like ruthless aggression era still.
Yeah,
Oh, I love the ruthless aggression era. It's so cool. Shit wrestling though, isn't it? Like, it's about actually kind of reassessing, kind of challenging the notions that people are like, bloody, that time was so good. Yeah, was it though? Was it? I love Booker T as world champion. Did you really though? Like, it's about just kind of reassessing some of those things that you may think are guaranteed. And I think that WWE ECW is a decent enough show for how little room it's actually being given to move. So I just think that, and I do hope that through time, it actually is allowed to gain more of an identity. Because this show tonight was the first where ECW stood on its own 2 feet. People may view it as seeing as it failed, but this was a genuine ECW show from top to bottom. Maybe without the Hardys, Nitro, and Mercury match, but but like it's standing on their own 2 feet, and it's putting on a show that it has been putting on 4 months under the ECW banner. So it's time to cherish what they actually did, even if it may have been absolutely commercially and critically panned.
And I feel like this is where we end off. Just December to Dismember is not a bad pay-per-view. It gets shit on by critics because what gets more clicks, saying Armageddon 2006 up or December to Dismember failed? Obviously, it's going to be December to Dismember failed. Like, it's again what the tabloids do. Could I say this celebrity as a celebrity looks amazing at 55? No, I can say they're an ugly bitch and gained 5 stone. So it's all about people seeing the worst in the not so dark in the dark time. And I just feel like you should appreciate wrestling more because again, for all we know, a nuke could come tomorrow and kill us all, and we'll all be dead. So would you like that instead, or would you like
It's a heartwarming note to put on. It's about cherishing what you have whilst it's there.
Exactly.
Right? It's something we all take for granted. We all took WWE ECW for granted. No, we didn't. No one cared for it. But we all take things for granted. So it's about cherishing it whilst it's still good. So there we are. Yes, but there we are. I've been needing a piss for like 2 hours now. This is it for our review of December to Dismember. This was a show that was surprisingly enjoyable and is arguably my favourite pay-per-view of 2006. So how about that? But yes, we've been one more match. We have. I thought I said watch them all for there. We've been one more match. Thank you for watching. Join us for the next couple of episodes of ECW as we round out 2006 and continue forward, pushing on. We're seeing more and more shit for one more match. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.